gotta turn my bitch up, turn my bitch up, turn my bitch.
Hey y'all, it's your girl Hannahburnellw and I am back. Welcome back to my channel. Okay, it's me, your girl Hannahburnellw. If you read the title, then you already know what we're gonna talk about today. Before we get into it, let's make sure that you are commenting, and subscribing, okay? Because like over 70% of y'all are not subscribed to my channel, which is crazy. For some of the views I get on some of these videos, like y'all aren't subscribed, okay? And also make sure you're following me on all forms of social media at Hannahburnellw. Don't talk about my fingers. Yes, both my index fingers, or pointer fingers rather. Oh, is this index? Yeah, it's index. Both of my pointer fingernails are off because they came off when I was doing my hair. I didn't do this, but when I was watching that quick weave out, they both came out. So in today's video, let's take a sip first of my white, what is this? I don't even know what I got. Let's talk about some ways that you can break being a people pleaser. These are like 3 tips or 3 habits that you can start to incorporate into like your everyday life to help you not be a people pleaser. And this is coming from someone who is definitely, I had being a people pleaser. Y'all in my stomach. I had being a people pleaser like really bad, and to a certain extent, like I'm still working through it. Like I'm not perfect, okay? I'm still working through what that looks like and feels like, and like how do I navigate relationships with like family and friends and like everything else, and stay true to who I am, right? The discovering myself in a sense. And people pleasing, or like trying to be a people pleaser, has really held me back in a lot of ways in my life. And so I want to talk about some things that I have implemented in my life to help me kind of like succumb some of those issues, and what, you know, like what life looks like for me now, navigating not being heavily invested into how other people feel or their wants in regards to like me. So like I think the first important thing to know is like, what is people pleasing? So like being a people pleaser is basically when you don't have a no button or you're willing to like change up your whole everything to make sure everybody is happy and comfortable, even if it makes you unhappy and uncomfortable, right? And I think that there's this conversation missing, I feel like, on social media, like on the TikToks and Instagrams and Twitters of the world, about like what boundaries look like in real life. Like, what are boundaries? And I don't think there's a conversation about how boundaries realistically work. To me, when I hear boundaries, in a sense, I hear that people are kind of like going cold turkey on a thing, or like hard stop, or like a hard no on stuff. And I think that that is like not fair to life in general, because we are still people, and even though we are the ones that don't want to be people pleasers, there are certain situations as people, because we are human, and this is like the human experience, that we expect people to accommodate us for. That's just what it is. That's real. And so I think boundaries work on a case-by-case situation with people and things and situations and like life in general. And there is a more realistic way of how to dispatch boundaries versus just being like everybody has to be pushed back or exempt from a thing, when like I don't think that that's realistic. So the first thing, the most obvious thing, the most cliche thing, the thing that everybody leaves with or says the most, is just to like implement the word no into your vocabulary. And that's real. This is the only example I have. I talk about it on the internet all the time, like on my socials. It's like being outdoors or being a beach type person. I don't like that environment. I don't like to be outside without an objective. If we are doing something that is outdoorsy, like maybe we're hiking, or maybe we're going on some type of tour, we got to be outside to make from one destination to another destination, and walking is just makes more sense. Or if we're at the beach, are we jet skiing? Are we on a boat? Like, what are we doing? Because I just don't want to be outside doing nothing. Like, I don't enjoy that atmosphere. I know this sounds crazy as a girl from Mississippi, right? Y'all think all of us down here country and we live outside anyways? I don't like being outside. So if I'm planning something for myself, I don't want to be outside. My goal is to not be outside. Unless like a rooftop or something like that. My goal is to not be outside. You feel me? Like, I'm not a nature girly at all whatsoever. Even though I'd be like, oh, I love the mountains, I want to be in the mountains. I want to be like indoors viewing the mountains, on a rooftop seeing the mountains. I don't want to be like man versus wild in the mountain. It's okay to say no, and it's okay to not want to do things because that's not who you are. Like, you have to start saying no. One major reason you have to start saying no is because the more you say yes, the more you over exhaust yourself trying to make sure that you fit in all the boxes, and that making sure that all of everybody else's needs are met. And sometimes that's also very unrealistic for you. So you want to make sure that like you really are putting yourself first before you give an answer. And again, it's okay to say no. It's more like a getting out of your own way type of situation. So the second thing I have on my list, which is something that I personally am dealing with and have been dealing with maybe for like the last 2.5 years, 3 years, is being accommodating, right? So you don't have to be as accommodating for people, especially if they have shown you that they're not as accommodating for you. You don't have to be as accommodating. So like, there will be times and situations where everybody will have an opinion about something, or everybody will want to change something, or everybody, like, there will never be a time where everybody will be on the same page. That is life. That is life. So like, sometimes you got to pick and choose your battles, but you do not have to be as accommodating to everybody, especially if it's something that's you-centered, right? If people say they don't want to do X, Y, and Z, or they don't want to go wherever places, that doesn't mean that you miss out on that opportunity, because the more you wait around for people to want to do something that you want to do, the greater the chance is that you're going to miss your opportunity to ever do that thing. Just go do it by yourself. Like, I am a firm believer of like doing a lot of things by yourself, going out by yourself, going out to eat by yourself, doing classes by yourself, traveling by yourself. Like, you can do that. It's not weird to do stuff by yourself. It's not. Especially if you're in a phase in your life when you know that you're changing and you're maturing, and like, maybe you just haven't found that group of people that want to share in the things that you want to do yet, and that's okay. But don't ever be so over accommodating that you either box yourself into a corner doing some shit that you don't want to do, or you just flat out don't do anything at all. And I'm guilty of both of those on multiple occasions. Like, I'm guilty of those, right? And I know how those things make me feel emotionally and mentally. And it's not always perfect. Sometimes you're going to hurt people's feelings, and sometimes your feelings are going to be hurt because you may really want to share in something with the people that you care about who don't want to do that or want to change your whole plan. And like, that's not doing that, you know? I'm still going to do what I'm going to do. I'm still going to have this experience. Would have been cool if you were here, or would have been cool if you wanted to do whatever, believed in this and want to do this, or work around something. This goes for like personal relationships and like your work relationships. You know what I'm saying? Like, don't be overly accommodating. You don't have to be. Again, I feel like all of these boundaries are case by case situations. So you have to decide who and what gets to bend anything, if you are into bending anything.
Oh, so you doing the bending.
But you don't have to be overly accommodating. You just don't. Okay, so the last thing that I think helps kind of break that people pleaser kind of attitude or habit is like saying the weird thing out loud. I am blunt. I do not try to sugarcoat things, but I feel like people associate being blunt with being like rude, and that is not always the fact, right? Like, whether you're trying to be rude or not, whether you're using the right verbiage or not, that's not what is happening always, because there's definitely a way to tell the truth without being rude and nasty. I feel like to me personally, and it may be because I'm from the South, that like sometimes that layer of rudeness to me comes with intention. So like I'm intending to be rude sometimes, you know, or I'm intending to say whatever I'm about to say kind of ugly, versus choosing better words to explain what I'm explaining, because you can choose better words to say what you have to say and not sugarcoat it at all. To me, sugarcoating means like leaving out major details and like just dancing around the point without actually saying what it is. So I try to be blunt about everything. I want you to know how I'm feeling. I want you to know what the reality of statuses are. I want you to know what's required or what's not required. I want you to know what the future looks like, or I want you to know what I think about an idea in a very realistic and upfront way without you having to guess about what I'm thinking about. Because I don't never want you to have to guess about what I'm thinking about, because usually when people guess about what I have to say, they are 100% wrong. You didn't have passed the vibe check. And so I feel like part of not people pleasing is letting people know exactly where you stand on certain things, whether you agree or whether you disagree, because that kind of helps curate a lot of things. It helps to curate your capacity. It helps to curate your workload. It helps to curate what you're willing to accept or what you're not willing to accept. It helps to curate expectations amongst people. Like, saying the thing out loud to me is like super important, and that's something that I'm learning in my work balance, like my work-life balance, is saying it. I don't have a lot of bad things to say out loud, but like when I notice things or when I see things that I don't think are right, I'm about like kind of calling that out. I feel like we are all adults. People can be sensitive and you can still get straight to the point without having to hurt nobody's feelings. And I don't know if it's an art. I don't know if it's just instinctual because I'm an Aries, but like I'm blunt. And that's probably like the biggest thing that people say about me, is that like you keep it real. No matter how bad it hurts your feelings, but like you keep it real. And to be honest, 100% of the time, I'm never trying to hurt nobody's feelings at all. Like, I don't have a malicious bone in my body, for real. You got to do a lot of messed up stuff for me to feel like I have to come after you. And like nothing is ever that serious. What did JT say? I don't hate you that bad. Like, I don't hate nobody that bad. But I feel like sugarcoating is a sign of people pleasing, because you don't want to hurt someone's feelings, or you want to always be in agreement with something because you want to stay on a good side or whatever that is. That's not realistic to me. Sometimes you have to have disagreement, because usually solutions come out of that. So those are like the things that I've been applying to my life that I think other people who are dealing with the same thing could apply to their life. And, you know, like just for like background reference, like, yes, I am my only child. I'm my mom's only child, and I was raised as the only child. I have no real relationship with my siblings. Like, I talked to some of them, but like I didn't grow up with them. There's a huge age gap. My parents are both college educated. My grandparents, my maternal side of the family is like, there is not an HBCU in the South that a family member has not attended, or further than that, a medical school or a law school or just anything, right? Like, it's a bunch of big brains, right? And so like the expectation to continue that on kind of fell on me, because there was like a little gray area. Not gonna lie, there was a little gray area. Like, people were trying, but it just wasn't working out the way people needed it to work out. And so when I was up next, a lot of pressure fell on me. And even like throughout high school and definitely undergrad, middle school, like I just kind of felt like there were shoes or boxes that I was expected to fit into, But like, I was very vocal about that when I was a child, when I was growing up. Like, y'all have no idea how many times I've been called disrespectful. But like, I used to always say it, like, the life y'all want for me is not the life I want for myself. I don't know what that looks like yet, because I'm literally like 13, but I do know what you want for me, I don't want for me. And so, but that doesn't mean that like I had much control. I just kind of knew when I got grown what I wanted to what type of spaces I wanted to move in, or how I wanted to carry myself, or how I wanted to work, or where I wanted to be. You feel me? Like, that was when I really started to just kind of like feel in all the spaces that I felt like I didn't have access to growing up. But definitely was a people pleaser. Definitely did a lot of things that if I had a redo, I would probably actually be a rebellious teenager and just not be slick at the mouth. I would probably actually be bad. But yeah, those are just some things that I've been implementing in my adult life. And I always say, like, it's never too late to like start something, or to start over, or to get out of your own way, or to build your confidence. Because I feel like, and like, these are my comments are riddled with these, like, girl, you don't look like you in your 30s. I know, okay, that's that Yazoo clay in my system, that that Cajun red beans and rice, okay? Like, my family did me good on the genetic side, I ain't gonna cap. At the big age of 31, there are things that I am learning about myself, and I'm evolving, and I'm turning into a person that I think I've been trying to turn into for a very long time, and didn't have like the skills or the know-how or the patience, or like I didn't know what it encompassed to a certain degree. And I feel like the older I'm getting, they really do say like the older you get, the less you start caring. That's true. But I'm figuring all that out, and I've been figuring that out since I was literally 27. Like, you know, I think this layer of millennials kind of still has some of that old schoolness in our upbringing and in our programming. And like, as I have been deprogramming myself, I have been realizing that there's a lot of stuff that I don't have to deal with, or I don't have to be a part of, or I don't have to feel the pressure of trying to conform to. Like, I don't have to. And that's what I've been doing. I can do what I want to do. So I hope this video was somewhat helpful. I kind of rambled in the middle a little bit, got a little lost, but even with my notes, right? My notes are also all over the place. But yeah, I hope that was super helpful for y'all. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. This is your second reminder to hit the notification bell so you'll be notified every time I post a video on this channel. And follow me on all forms of social media at Hannahburnellw, and I will catch y'all in the next video. Bye.
All that savage love you.